for the actors. Since a lot of you do have a lot of sketch background, what do you bring to that, when you're coming, even with these incredibly strong scripts, granted, how do you feel that's influencing what you bring to the show?
Well, at least once an episode, I just look in a camera and say, "Live from New York." Just for the hell of it.
Okay. Aziz, over to you.
I don't know, I guess when I did Human Giant, we shot in a similar way where we would do the scripted takes, and then, when you're on set and you're there, you kind of come up with ideas in the moment, and, you try a few of those, and it's a pretty similar method to what we did on Human Giant, I guess, as far as the shooting style. I guess the only difference is in Human Giant, we were, killing each other all the time, but which doesn't happen in this show. Yeah, it's a similar process in a way.
If I may, too, that where our relationship and intimacy with the writers is really nice on this show, that you get to, when you come from a sketch world, the writers are producing their own pieces, and so as an actor, you get close up and personal, and when the writers get to be on set, and you get to kind of talk to them about what they're thinking about, and Mike and Greg, when they're there, and there's a certain amount of collaboration that I don't know if is specifically found only in the sketch world, but not always, I think, found in the half-hour world.
Yeah, I'm on that show, The Mentalist, and they don't give me any input.
I always forget you're on that show.
It's like, guys, I don't think my character would do that. Whatever. The guy's seen into the future. He knows what happens.
Nick, I have to ask you, because you had such a special moment with Andy in the last episode. Can you talk a little bit about that? I don't even know how to ask the question, so just can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I'd rather not.
Okay.
Generally speaking, one of the things I love about this show is when there's a weird little B story where two of us, like in the episode we just saw with Andy and April, when two of us get to go off and be weird, doing something banal, it's such a wonderful chance to just be human, and your performance can just be really behavioral. For me, one of the favorite things this season was the hernia story with Aubrey, because anything with Aubrey always gets really dark and scary. And it's really enjoyable. And in the same way, that story with my bunion, it really was, it was nothing more than really what was said in the show, which is, it was touching Ron there, gave him a pleasurable feeling, and it made his body make a noise, which was really weird between the two guys, and that was it. And it was really, it doesn't need to be any more or like any dirtier, or, he hasn't called me, or. And I love the simplicity of that. We can just, play with like the discomfort that creates. And I think that's a really smart choice by these guys.
Okay. Paul?
Yes.
You've done a lot of, I know you've also done, a good amount of movie acting as well. Maybe not as much sketch, I'm not sure.
None as much sketch.
None as much, okay. How are you feeling about the mock documentary format? How has that been to transition from the movie experience to this experience?
Sketched out.
Okay. Aubrey? I have to close with Aubrey, because I have to hear what you have to say about this.
About?
Because you've done a lot of sketch comedy work.
Oh.
So how are you feeling, doing the show?
Well, I don't know. I've never been on TV before, so doing the show is crazy in a lot of ways, not just
Crazy in a good
coming
way?
from a sketch improv background, but I guess it's helpful. I mean, coming from UCB and coming from a world where it's collaborative and everyone's supportive and everyone's all about the game and finding the comedy in interesting ways. So I feel like we all kind of speak the same language sometimes, which is something that is really important for me. coming from like, you know, having done nothing, and being able to like improvise with Amy and Aziz and everyone, like, so I don't know, I think coming from like doing sketches and stuff it lends, I don't know, it's really good, I guess, for the show.
Well, it's hard to fake ensemble. Like, you either have it or you don't. Like, and I think the audience can tell when you don't. I think the audience can feel it when you're just working, when it's like a cast that's been placed together, when it's some kind of...
The Mentalists. I've never even seen that show. No clue what it's about. I assume he has some sort of mental power.
The weird thing is he doesn't. I'm not
What?
kidding. No,
He's
just
right.
like
He's right.
he's like a smart detective or something. But
No, no,
I
he's like a
thought,
former con man.
He's
Oh,
what?
that's what it is.
He used to be.
yeah.
He used to be a grifter.
He used to be a
So
grifter,
basically,
and
he
yeah.
can sort of read people's
them get their
tells,
own
and that's why
panel.
he's the mentalist. But that's a different panel.
Do you watch
That's true.
Encyclopedia Brown when he grew up. Isn't that?
The last thing I want to talk about with improvisation, Amy, that was such a large part of your background, and also becoming one of the key players in the UCB. And if you haven't been to the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater here in Los Angeles, I highly recommend you go. It's for $10. It's an amazing amount of laughs, and the improv is absolutely amazing to see. So just a little comedy tip.
Thank
But,
you for that.
Um,
They
oh,
also sell T-shirts. There's lighters there.
But I wanted to talk to you because not only is your acting background so varied, but improvisation has been such a big part of it. And I was so excited when you signed on to do this show, because after having watching you on SNL, I was just like, oh my God, to see Amy Poehler every week, just in a sitcom, was actually a really exciting thought.
Thank you.
And normally when you hear about sitcom casting, it's tough to get all that excited. So can you talk a little bit about that?
About how excited you were?
Sure.
Well, I feel like in the beginning of the day, you were kind of excited. And then as the day went on, you were like, I might be into this.
I got more excited.
And yeah, then you had a few glasses of wine. And you know, it's been so exciting to play one character. It's been a challenge, and you know, at the end of the day, all these various things we're talking about, half hour and sketch and improv and you know, dramatic film work and stuff, all of it is really at the end of the day, the writing and the people that you perform with. You know, it's the ensemble, it's the writing. It's a sense of that whatever you're working on feels true and real, and that there's also a sense that you feel protected when you get to do it. So the combination of those two things with this show is at like, it's just at a high amount, and I'm very lucky to be able to be part of that, because sometimes you have one and you don't have the other. So, yeah, so I mean, I can tell why you would be excited.